Who would have thought that we would be able to earn a six-figure salary while working anywhere in the world and in the comforts of our own home? If you're thinking of shifting to a career that will make it easier for you to work remotely, this video will show you what kind of remote careers in Canada will help you earn up to $100,000 or more per year. Hey, what's going on? It's Chris here from Wealth Awesome. Did you know that the median salary of remote workers in Canada is $87,000 per year? Until a few years ago, most of the remote jobs available used to be for software and IT professionals only. But if the 2020 work from home uprise has taught us anything, that is no longer the case. Now you can choose between several different career paths. Most of them pay quite well also, so you can easily achieve your goal of working remotely at a high salary. But if you do not have a core competency yet, or you are looking to make a switch, this list of best careers for remote work in Canada can help you find the right fit. As a finance major myself who now works entirely remotely, I can vouch for the fact that you don't need to be inherently tech savvy to be a successful remote worker. Choose a career path that you feel most comfortable with, hone your skills, and you can become a successful and well-paid remote worker. Stick around until after the list is finished and I'll go over my personal thoughts about the best careers for working remote in Canada. If you get lost or want to learn more, you can check out the written article about this video on my website, wealthawesome.com. I go into this in way more detail. I have a list of 17 best ones instead of 12, so I've included a link in the description below. Let's start with how much you can make as a remote worker. According to a report published by CNBC, about 1 in every 4 remote workers earn over $100,000 a year or more. The research for this report was conducted in the US, but the point is that you can make a lot as a remote worker. How much you could earn is directly proportional to your competency and experience. Most of the highest paid remote professionals usually have years of experience and a lot of industry exposure. They also have a successful history of managing things on their own, running a team, and strong communication and coordination skills. Many companies bestow the privilege of working from home to their senior management, consultants, experts, and chief executives. If you are at that stage of your career or you are aiming to be, you could easily make $100,000 or more a year working remotely. Industries with the highest percentage of remote workers. According to a report published by Owl Labs, the sector leading the percentage of remote workers is surprisingly in healthcare, but this is in the United States. I couldn't find many studies like this done for Canadian remote workers, so I'll rely on some of the data I found for the US. About 15% of the participants in the study belong to the healthcare sectors. Other major sectors are technology and internet, financial services, education, manufacturing, professional services, and retail. And again, this data is from US-based participants, but there are similarities between job trends in the US and Canada. So we can expect a similar distribution of remote jobs and workers industry-wise. But the most important takeaway from this data is that it's made up of many different sectors. Technology and software are also constituting a big portion of the remote jobs in Canada. For this video though, I'm going to skip over healthcare remote workers as Canada has a much different healthcare system than the US. So the first sector I'll go over is the technology industry. Technology and internet-based companies find it easiest to transition from an on-site to a remote working model. Most people in this industry have enough know-how of computers and the internet to be able to adapt to the change easily. The most common remote tech jobs include software development, IT support, consultancy, training, project management, and systems deployment. The first job I'll go over is junior software engineer. And how much you can earn per year is between about $40,000 to $65,000 a year. Junior software engineers and developers with minimal experience can find several remote job options in Canada. In software development, especially in agile organizations, remote working is usually a mature enough concept that they can seamlessly integrate a new developer in the loop. It requires a bachelor's degree in computers or another relevant field. In addition to that, software engineers can also freelance as an additional income source. Canadian software engineers can try for remote jobs across the border as well, since the software industry in the US is much stronger. And if you get promoted to a senior software engineer, you can make substantially more, especially if you get an equity piece in the company. Second job we'll go over is web developer, and his salary is between $40,000 to $150,000 a year or more. I know quite a lot about being a web developer because I actually was one very briefly. Basically what it is anything that you see on the internet. A web developer can either design the front end of it or they can work on the back end of it as well to manage things like the database. I became one because I wanted to become a remote worker. And even though I didn't have any background in it, how I became one was I took a 3-month coding bootcamp program from Lighthouse Labs. And right after I finished, I landed a job making $50,000 per year, which is pretty great considering I only did 3 months of training. Of course, it was very hard, but that's something that's available to you if you're interested. Other ways to become a web developer, obviously if you have a computer science degree, that would really help. You could also self-learn as well. But that route will probably take a lot longer than doing something like the coding bootcamp that I did. Third job is engineering consultant. How much you can earn is $69,000 to $139,000 a year. Engineering consultants are less frequently associated with one organization and mostly work on a freelance basis. To become an engineering consultant, you have to usually have an engineering degree, preferably a master's degree, and several years of experience. Engineering consultants are normally hired by a company to solve a particular problem or to work on a specific project. Even as remote workers, they have a lot of freedom. They could work alone or in conjunction with a company's on-site team. It's a rewarding career path for many, but it requires a lot of industry exposure and problem-solving skills. Number 4 is machine learning engineer or data scientist. How much you could earn is $120,000 or $91,000 a year is the median salary respectively based on those two jobs, but it can be much higher depending upon the assignment. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, and data science are 3 very different areas, but they have a lot of overlap as well. They are 3 of the best paying remote jobs available, and not just in Canada. You could easily find a temporary or permanent position in a foreign company as well if you have the right skill set. Computer engineers and even people with a business degree can take free or paid online courses and develop the relevant skills needed for these jobs. They also don't require years and years of experience, but you will have to learn and adapt to new developments in the field constantly. Lighthouse Labs has also put out another program mainly focused on data science, so that's another bootcamp that you can consider doing. Fifth job is a technical writer. How much you could earn? $62,000 a year is the median salary with a range of $45,000 to $87,000 a year. This is easily the oddest of the bunch. Technical writers are either people with a technical background or formal education who discovered a love for writing, or writers and linguists with a fondness for technology. This job entails writing technical reports, briefs of new technologies, manuals for new devices, articles about the latest technologies, reviews, buying guides, and educational materials. This career path combines technology, creativity, and education. Apart from full-time remote jobs, a technical writer can also take on freelance projects quite easily. Now that we covered technology, we're going to move to financial services. Financial experts and professionals also enjoy their fair share of remote jobs. According to an estimate by FlexJobs, 3 of the most in-demand remote jobs include positions as an accountant, account management, and bookkeeper. Other jobs include financial analysts, consultants, and fintech experts. The 6th job we'll talk about is an accountant. How much you could earn? The average is about $39,000 to $73,000 a year, with the median falling somewhere around $50,000. Online accountant jobs have been gaining popularity. There is a large spread in the expected salary for a remote accountant based on their experience, certification, and additional services they provide. In most cases, remote accountants are responsible for reviewing the financial documents of a business or an individual to make sure they are complete and accurate. Some accountants also run payrolls for businesses, while others offer bookkeeping services and tax preparations. Remotely working CPAs and auditors usually make a lot more money than regular accountants. Number 7 is bookkeeping. How much you can earn is $34,000 to $58,000 a year for experienced bookkeepers. Online bookkeeping software like QuickBooks have made it deceptively easy for business owners to maintain their company's books themselves. Still, many people tend to outsource bookkeeping to individuals or online bookkeeping firms. These firms usually comprise of a few bookkeepers who are compensated according to their expertise and certification. Accountants who provide bookkeeping services tend to charge a premium rate compared to just simple bookkeepers. Eighth job we'll talk about is financial analysts. How much you can earn between $58,000 to $77,000 a year on average. Financial analysts are sometimes hired by businesses to provide consultation about their internal financial matters, like forecasting, budgeting, and improving cash flows. They also perform market analysis, look for trends, and help individuals or companies develop actionable investment strategies. In Canada, the top employers for financial analysts include Bombardier, Loblaws, and Deloitte. You need at least a bachelor's degree usually though, preferably in a finance-related subject, to start your career as a financial analyst. Ninth career is one of my former ones, is financial advisor or financial coach. How much you can earn per year? On average, it's close to about $60,000. Financial advisors and financial coaches usually work with individuals and not organizations. In most cases, both have their own business instead of working for a company on a salary basis. A financial advisor's job is to provide portfolio management, investment, and wealth management advice to individuals. Financial coaches, on the other hand, primarily work with individuals who have trouble managing their finances and have accumulated a significant amount of debt. The next sector we'll talk about is the education sector. The value of remote teaching became apparent during the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, when teachers who were used to physical classes had to transition to giving online classes. And though online teaching makes up for the bulk of remote jobs in the education sector, there are a few other jobs as well. So the 10th job we'll go over here is English as a Second Language or ESL teachers. How much you can earn? About $23 an hour on average with VIP Kid Canada. ESL teachers is one of the most in-demand online jobs out there. Even with so many free online resources available, many people still prefer a human touch. Most ESL teachers work on a freelance basis, but some can be associated with an institution. Becoming an ESL teacher for high school and younger students usually only requires a college degree and CELTA, TESOL, or TEFL certification. For college students, you might require a master's degree though. Number 11 is online teachers, and how much you could earn on average, $40,000 to $80,000. I separated online teaching from ESL teaching because there is a much wider spread here. Remote teachers don't just have to be school or subject teachers. They can be online guides, trainers, even consultants whom companies sometimes hire to conduct online training sessions. Consultants are usually experienced professionals with their own private businesses. But even online remote teaching for a particular institute or school can be a decently paying option. The next job we'll go over is content creator. And how much you could earn is on average $33,000 to $69,000 per year. Content creators can find many jobs in the field of education. They may be required to write or update course books and other educational materials for students. Or they can help create educational videos to help students better absorb the course materials. Some experienced ones can also be brought in remotely to help with preparing a curriculum. Content creators can mostly find jobs with institutions that try and stay ahead of the curve and intend to teach their students using the most updated materials and resources. My thoughts on remote working in Canada, I think it's just going to continue to grow in the future, and more companies are discovering a lot of their employees prefer this. Of course, it's not for everyone, but in a lot of cases, it is, because the companies get to save money by not having to spend on expensive office space. Remote workers get a lot more freedom, and they get to spend more time with their family and loved ones. And let's face it, a lot of people just hate going into an office, dealing with all the politics, and doing a 30 to 60-minute commute every day in miserable weather. So you gotta skip all that if you become a remote worker. In my opinion, I love it, and I would never go back to working in an office. All right, so after you have set up your career, and you have a bit of savings, I would recommend that you use those savings in your EQ bank account. And right now it has 1.25% everyday savings rate per year, and that's way higher than any of the big banks will get you. So if you're interested, check the description below. I put a link. Just like an on-site job, how successful and well-paid you are in your remote work depends directly on your hard work, experience, education, and competency. But one trait that every remote worker should have is adaptability. If you can't adapt to change and new technology, you won't be able to keep pace with the ever-changing market. For a remote worker, a wider skill set might be more helpful compared to one skill that has been honed to perfection. So always look to expand your knowledge. Since you've made it this far, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future tips. Also, be sure to check out the blog wealthawesome.com. I go into this topic in way more detail. I have a lot of different types of jobs. If you are looking for just like part-time jobs, I have a lot of articles on that. So check it out. It's also one of the fastest growing blogs in Canada. And as always, thanks for listening.